drive women inclusion and innovation through the new decade. We are striving and promoting women's leadership and contribute with visions and strong messages to promote through our advocacy. We believe that similar initiatives could influence of systematic cultural, economic, and political change. They're making a great improvements towards reducing gender gaps. And we would like to show partnership and the positive outcomes, especially from these conferences, of the possible synergies that promote the cooperation and improve the image and reputation between UAE and Serbia. In business, women's leaderships improves performance, drive transparencies, encourage innovation and more as a result of women leaderships in new decade of sustainable and inclusive growth in the region. And in the futures, the main goals, it will be part of creating a women platform here for Balkan through European network with all European principles and standards, also including UAE project models, experience, best knowledges, and knowledge transfer. And it will be, for Serbia, it will be facilitating the development of towards to the faster in UAE integration and negotiation. Thank you very much. I hope that we will all enjoy in this discussion, interactive panel and conference, and that we will have the conclusion of this panel and to create the most follow-up activities in further. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abramovic, very much. As we have so far, it's only the first session of the conference, and we have already heard so many interesting and useful informations. So let's start a little bit of building some steps to see how we can further the women's empowerment, how we can empower women and give them that boost to be even better in what they're doing. We are starting now the gender equality part, which we titled the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Principles, which is UN Global Compact and UN Women Initiative for the Empowerment of Women. Help is a German non-governmental organization active worldwide, and today we are lucky to have Deputy Managing Director of the organization, Mr. Timo Stegelmann, who is seated in the headquarters of the organization in Germany. Mr. Stegelmann has a worldwide international experience in program management, in developing policies and strategies in both developing parts of the world and those who were transitioning for quite some time. Mr. Stegelmann, thank you very much for joining us today, and we would like to hear from you what is the overall Help's gender equality policy and how it relates to the possible activities that we could take in the future and that are actually in line with the Sustainable Development Goals and Agenda 2030. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for also having me here today. The general principle of the organization Help, we also have, like, for example, now the future perspective together for tomorrow in Southeast Europe. But in all projects, we are following the Sustainable Development Goals, but we are trying to fill these things with life, because the theory is always nice to have it on paper and to have the principles on paper, but we have to fill it with life. And that's why I'm very proud also to have the Dress for Success pilot initiative, which we could support within our projects as well. Just also to show the reality and to show how the impact can be done. But it's not only reaching a quote or something like this in a project where you can make a dot that you managed it. That's not the idea of Help. We want to really have clear indicators that things are improving and that women leadership is actually also for Together for Tomorrow worldwide. I mean, like an essential thing, it's a benefit, and this is a key advantage. So we are already. We are in the Balkans concretely. We are at the moment planning the next 5 years, 6 years project. We're celebrating 25 years of help in Southeast Europe. Unfortunately, due to Corona, we couldn't really celebrate it, only did online events so far with the members of the German Parliament and some local initiatives. But we clearly planned how do we really want to live the principles and how can we include it in our economic development projects, in the project itself, but also in our organization, because there are two things which are important. One thing is actually that you are living it in the projects, but the other thing is also, you have to start with yourself, so with your own organization. So I'm very happy to have Marsha Bubanier here today as well, who is actually one of the key leaders of our initiatives in Southeast Europe, not only in Serbia, in the whole region, which I take actually lots of times with me when we are developing new projects in the areas, because it's also another issue if a woman talks to woman, and if I talk or somebody else, a man. So therefore, that's also, it starts with the same organization. So we have to promote the equality in the leadership as well, or build up the leadership in our organization first. But what we already did, we have to live the principles, and we really have to show it also to the municipalities, to the government, to the local government, what is actually the challenge and what's the benefit. And I think that we could really prove into certain initiatives, also with Dress for Success, how this can be really lived.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. You have actually mentioned a very important piece of information that we are actually still in the pandemics. The COVID has changed the paradigm of our lives, and that's we are today meeting online instead of maybe in some nice conference hall where we could actually directly communicate. But that's one of the indicators of human resilience and adaptability, how fast we can react and change and work progressively towards preservation, so to say. So our next speaker is coming from the United Arab Emirates. I hope that media center administrators and Zoom administrators can connect Ms. Yasmina Azhari. Ms. Azhari, I hope I'm pronouncing correctly her surname, is a pioneer businesswoman. She's a partner. She's advisor and chair of multiple bodies and institutions for economic development and women's empowerment. She is also awardee of multiple international nominations and decorations for her philanthropic work. Mrs. Azhari, can we hear each other?
Yes, I think so. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so very much for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an issue that I like and a title that I like to tackle as well.
Please do so. The floor is yours. Tell us about the women in business. What are the challenges? How you deal with them? Give us some advice and some, let's say, recipe how to be even better, how we can help to each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will start. I usually do not write, but now due to shortage of time, I had to write a little bit so that I read quickly and I can deliver as much as possible from my advices and ideas. So the first question was, women as business, what are the challenges and how to deal with them, what women can do and how men can help?
Ms. Azhari.
Yes. Azhari.
We have interpreters. They are trying to translate what you are saying. Okay. So take your time. Do not rush. It will be all fine. With your experience and knowledge, it's very important that everybody actually hear and grasp what you are saying. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the first obstacles or challenges, as far as I can see, are limited access to funding. Then balancing responsibilities, gender inequality by laws, cultures, religion, and politics. unaffordable business environment, which are culture and traditions in some countries, timidity and fail from failure, defying social expectations. Sometimes some women are acting as men in big events, so they want to prove themselves in social business networking instead of being themselves and having their female fingerprints. So I think that all these should be solved so that we can be stronger. How men can support women? I have a lot of talks in this issue. Hire women, pay them equal salaries, promote them, listen to women and not make assumptions. Am I running quickly or is it fine? I hope you can hear me. Anyhow, it's respect women's space. So we have a space. Okay, so we have a space that men should respect it. Share parenting duties and take parental leaves as well. Advocate for women at work. Hire women, pay them, promote them in a good way. That I didn't stop at it, but I think that it's very important. Do not factor a woman's personal life into professional decision. Give credit where it's due. For men who are in decision-making positions, I think that they can play a big role in changing rules and regulations in a country to become more in a female side. For example, they should change policies to become in women's participation in economic life. Men should mentor women startups and help them to achieve their goals and reach their career dreams. They may also work in removing social barriers in addition to business ones. I mean, it was very quickly, but I think that there are headlines that I like to point at.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I think that the interpreters managed most of that. Thank you so very much. Stay with us, please, if there are any questions for the discussion and the conclusions in the end. Now, I would like to introduce, and I will, don't mind me, I will switch to the Serbian language. Ja bih sada da najavim Helpovog dugogodišnjeg saradnika, poznatog borca i aktivistu za ljudska prava i za prava manjina, mogu slobodno reći ne samo u Srbiji, nego na teritoriji Zapadnog Balkana. A to je gospodin Osman Balić, koji je inače i predsjednik Skrug Liga Roma, odnosno organizacije koja okuplja udruženja Roma. Gospodine Baliću, da li se čujemo? Dobar dan. Hvala vam na odvojenom vremenu i dobro nam došli.
Hvala.
Pregled, kada govorimo o rodnoj ravnopravnosti u Srbiji i kada su naročito sa fokusom na manjinske grupe, na ugroženo stanovništvo. Kao što sam rekla drugim, the floor is yours, kažite kakvo je vaše viđenje, šta može biti popravljeno u praksi i na koji način. Hvala.
Pa znate, mi smo suočeni, dakle, u svim zemljama u regiona, naročito u zemljama koje jesu u tranziciji, suočeni smo sa jednom licemernom politikom prema ženama i prema pitanju manjina i prema rodnoj ravnopravnosti generalno. Zato što su sve države u regionu su svoje zakonodavstvo i svoju legislativu doveli do modela izvrsnosti. Sve je na papiru garantovano, međutim, osim broja žena u parlamentu, što je izbornim zakonom uslovljeno, vi tu praktičnu politiku prema rodnoj ravnopravnosti imate vrlo, vrlo problematičnu. To je jedan rakurs. Drugi rakurs se tiče odnosa prema manjinama. Takođe, imate sve na papiru, u praksi je to sasvim drugačije i ilustracije radi manjine, naročito etničke manjine, u zemljama regiona Balkana su najsiromašnije u ekonomskom smislu. Pa onda možete sa te pozicije da vidite i stanje rodne ravnopravnosti. Naravno da su žene pripadnice manjinskih, etničkih zajednica u mnogo teškom stanju. I koliko je to teško, možete misliti kako je Romkinjama. Dakle, situacija je vrlo teška i u tom smislu ovom problemu treba pristupiti. I ja se nadam da ćemo, kada govorimo o pitanju rodne ravnopravnosti, govoriti i o političkoj participaciji i o ekonomskom osnaživanju žena. Te dve stvari bi favorizovao, možda i pre nasilja nad ženama, zdravstvene zaštite i tako dalje. Nekako ove dve teme su mi favoriti i sa njima mislim da možemo da pokrenemo te pragmatične, vidljive promene, naročito kod pripadnica manjinskih zajednica, dakle žena. One jesu za to najviše zainteresovane. Dakle, to je moje jedno opšte viđenje situacije. Imate sve na papiru i vrlo slabe promene na terenu, naročito kada se tiče pripadnica slabijeg pola u tim zemljama.
Gospodine Baliću, šta onda možemo da učinimo da to stanje promenimo? Na koji način možemo da osnažimo žene? Ajde da danas ne govorimo o politici, nego o ekonomskom osnaživanju. Govorimo o ženskom liderstvu, o ženama koje zaista žongliraju na više polja u životu i trude se da budu i uspešne supruge, i majke, i domaćice, i da se bave svojim poslovnim aktivnostima, da doprinesu, što kažu, što Englezi kažu, da budu breadwinneri, da donesu hleb na sto i da omoguće da njihove porodice žive. Na koji način možemo ekonomski da osnažimo žene? Šta je tu problem? Evo, gospođa Azhari je spomenula na prvom mestu nedostatak fondova, nedostatak novca. Da li je to jedina stvar ili možda postoji još nešto što možemo da kažemo da predstavlja izazov i gde bismo svi zajedno, znači i vladin i civilni, a naročito poslovni sektor koji zapravo i proizvodi novac, da tako kažemo, jer vlade, ako ćemo da gledamo, nisu money makeri, oni ga više troše nego što ga proizvode, pravi novac zapravo leži u poslovnom sektoru. Kako onda iz tog poslovnog sektora da ga osnažimo još više, da taj poslovni sektor više od 50% privrede razvijenih zemalja čine preduzetnici i preduzetnice. Preduzetništvo je jedan od vidova. Znači, šta je pored tog nedostatka sredstava iz vaše perspektive, iz vašeg iskustva, vi sada već mnogo projekata imate iza sebe, šta je to što možemo da kažemo da bi trebalo da delujemo i da radimo, na čemu možemo da radimo kako bismo osnažili žene?
Znate, ja imam jednu maksimu. Izvinite. Dakle, svaki problem se ne rešava i ti problemi koji jesu prisutni kod rodne ravnopravnosti. Dakle, treba prestati sa kukanjem, sa stalnim zameranjem državi da nešto nije uradio. Rešenje je u organizovanju. Dakle, treba prestati da se kuka nad tom temom, nego žene moraju same da se organizuju. To je prva stvar. Druga stvar, novi poslovi otvaraju nova radna mesta i nove ideje otvaraju nova radna mesta upravo za žene koje i sada ne mogu da gledaju ovu našu konferenciju. Dakle, govorim o siromašnim ženama, pripadnicama manjinskih zajednica. I to je osnovna stvar. Dakle, inicijative, nove ideje i nikad nije mnogo organizacije. Dakle, žene moraju na mikronivou da se organizuju, da imaju neku poslovnu ideju ili da im se predloži neka poslovna ideja i da se krene u proces razvoja. Dakle, razvoj tih ženskih mreža, naročito kod Roma, nedostaju organizovane grupe Romkinja u samim mahalama. Mahale, kao što znate, to je naš jedan oblik stanovanja i ima i svojih i dobrih i loših mana, ali ja bih voleo da, na primjer, posle ove konferencije odmah izađemo sa nekom idejom na terenu. Dakle, da pokušamo da formiramo neke forme zadruga u romskim naseljima. I da, ovo što je Timo rekao, na 5-6 godina vidimo neke rezultate. To bi bilo revolucionarno za sve žene na Balkanu. I u tom smislu moje očekivanja od ove konferencije jesu vrlo pragmatična. Dajte da odmah posle konferencije krenemo sa nekim poslovnim idejama koje će biti u duhu onoga što krasi Help. Dakle, direktna, neposredna pomoć ženama u mahalama, ali ne samo Romkinjama. To imate i u bošnjačkoj zajednici, to imate i kod Slovaka i u bugarskoj zajednici. Sve manjinske zajednice i sve te ženske zajednice, uslovno rečeno, traže pomoć, traže nove ideje.
Hvala vam velika na ovom zaista iscrpnom pregledu. Mi smo sada prilično dobro pratimo vremenski okvir koji smo zadali. Hvala, ostanite sa nama. Sada sledi jedna vrlo interesantna stvar. Evo, ono što se inače redovno u nekakvim analizama i izveštajima pojavljuje jeste taj nedostatak sredstava na prvom mestu. Mi smo završili sa prvom temom i prelazimo na drugu, a druga tema je zapravo najčešće ono što je takođe jedna od stvari na koju treba da se obrati pažnja kada je u pitanju osnaživanje žena. Radi se o prenosu znanja, o prenosu iskustva, tako da ću ja sada ponovo malo da pređem na engleski jezik. So we have pretty much within the given deadline of the conference, and as everyone, the first panel of the speakers was introducing general overview and giving us what was the main problem. Somehow the funding always is the main issue. But we have reached the second subject, the second panel of our today's conference, and it is actually the second issue in that list that is the critical, and that is one of the things that helps women to further along, to advance and to improve their skills. That's why I am especially eager to start it as soon as possible, because we have a very special guest from the United Arab Emirates. That is Sheikha Hind bint Majid Al-Qasimi. Hind, good afternoon again. Thank you very much for joining us. Hind is chairperson of Sharjah Business Women Council, and Hind is also a businesswoman and owner of the company. She understands many things, and we are talking about the knowledge transfer and successful project models. As the Sharjah Business Women Council has many initiatives, and they do a lot to help women to advance their skills and to prosper. I would kindly like to ask you to tell us about the Sharjah Business Women Council initiatives, how you support the women, what kind of knowledge transfer, how you motivate them to succeed. And okay, let's stop there and then we will continue with the second part. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. And I'll take an opportunity to learn from each one another today. So SBWC was established in 2002 under the patronage of Her Highness Sheikha Jawahir bint Muhammad Al-Qasimi, the Sharjah ruler wife. And it's one of NEMA Women Establishment affiliates. Our aim is to support female-owned businesswomen through assisting her to start her business in Sharjah. So we take her through step by step. So we start with partnering with the government and private sectors, for example, to get her license and what needed to start up her business. And then we created workshops to upskill her knowledge into her field. And we let her participate in seminars, being part of exhibitions to showcase her business. And we came up with initiatives, which is example, SBWC Talks, SBWC Tour, which is we go and visit our members into her business and highlight it and talk about her success and her ups and downs and to share her knowledge with other members. Through the pandemic, we created a very strong social media platform. So we didn't stop our SBWC tour, or we didn't stop our SBWC talks. We went virtually. And we came up also with the SBWC Entrepreneur Tips to help the businesswomen knowledge to work from home. And we came up with the SBWC Reads and SBWC Talk. SBWC Reads and SBWC Dictionary to break down the business word buzz and a new vocabulary into the business. So this is like our initiatives. And I believe the SBWC talks and tours support the business owned and highlight her business and letting other members know about her. What was the question again? One more, maybe I missed something.
No. So far, so good. It's very interesting to hear. That's exactly the thing, how women are actually resourceful and resilient. Even the pandemic, which is actually the changing the global paradigm of living hasn't stopped us. And you have found the way how to help the women. So
yes, I think with the pandemic and going everything virtually, it connects more people, even outside the country, because we do have our international, we have trade missions, we have our visits to other countries and accepting delegations. So this one did link other countries and other members to be part of our talks or even participating in the workshop. I think going virtual did help us in connecting with one another. And we also do highlight women into tech. So we do collaborate with GITEX startup to highlight the women into tech, which is what we need nowadays, you know, to promote her more and highlight her business into tech, or even giving her the opportunity to think that there is business for women into tech. It's not only for men. So I think GITEX collaborating with them did really highlight the women into the tech field and open their knowledge.
Yes, there is evident increase in women's dealing with the technologies, and they're actually pretty good in that. So at the moment we cannot travel, but that doesn't mean that the international cooperation has stopped. Can you tell us about something about the SBWC, is the international cooperation?
So as I said, international collaboration, we do create trade missions for our members, and we specify every group of women into different fields of business. So for example, we had a trade mission to Italy, and we had to highlight women into textiles. So she went and visit and check different textiles companies in Italy. Mm-hmm. So this is how we do it. We had it in Bangkok also, highlighting the craft. So we do have trade missions in different countries.
Part of the world.
Yes, and we, as I said, we accept delegations from other countries to be part of or having a new market in the UAE, and even collaborating with the based on business in the UAE or in Sharjah, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. You have mentioned textile sector. Serbia once had a very strong textile sectors. We have recently had very interesting joint initiative within the regional cooperation. I hope you will enjoy it. It will be part of the success stories and first thing on the program of the conference within the panel of the success stories. Thank you for now. Stay with us, bear with us. We will move on. It is a pleasure to have you here. There is a lot to talk about. We have to move on and try to stay within the given time frame and the program. I will move on with the next speaker. It is a very, very interesting woman, and you will hear from her address. I will just tell that Miss Sanja Popović-Pantić is a very resourceful woman. She is a PhD. She is the chair of the sector for sector group Women Entrepreneurship within the European Enterprise Network. She is the president of the Association of Businesswomen in Serbia, and she is doing the best of her work to help women throughout Serbia, throughout the region, and I would like to ask her to join us.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction to me, and I'm really glad to be today the speaker in this fantastic conference. I know that it was demanded to organize such a great panel with many distinguished speakers, and congratulations to all the organization team from Dress for Success and from Help. Yes, I'm happy actually to share with you the success story that was created by our joint efforts. As you said, I'm the chair of the sector of the Enterprise Europe Network Sector Group for Women Entrepreneurship, and which is the international group. That's why I'm speaking in English this time, and because this initiative that we created together was actually international, but with the strong promotion of the regional capacities of women in textile and fashion sector. So as a chair of the sector group, which is one among 17 sector groups within the Enterprise Europe Network, we cooperate with all other sector groups, because women entrepreneurship is horizontal sector, and this is very important to use all the benefits from coming out of that fact. And that's why my sector group is cooperating very much with textile and fashion sector group, which chair is located in Italy. But of course, the members come from many, many countries. And this last year, I connected to Masha because we cooperate very much at the local, national level, especially in encouraging Roma women and other minority groups of women in economy. And I approached Masha with the idea to create something together, and she actually built up this idea up to the sky level, and this is really fantastic how together with Sandra they approach this issue, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic period, because we started, you know, in a period when it was normal, really normal, not new normal.
Yes.
And then we switched to this digital mode. I mean, the organizer of the big fashion show, Torino Fashion Week from Italy, run by my colleague, the chair of the textile group and textile and fashion group, they decided to go offline, and this decision was made in June or May this year. So, and the event was in early October. So it was really very short notice, and Masha started even in January. I remember our meeting when we was discussing how to find the resources for the travel, for the trip to Torino, and for many other components that Masha was, let's say, in charge for, or took the responsibility to organize this in financial and technical way. And then that was happened, and it was so fast reaction, and my task there was just to support them to go digital and to connect with, of course, organizers from Torino. All other components were realized by Masha and Sandra, and the huge team that they managed to get together, including the designers from the Balkan region, which they managed to get together. Of course, Enterprise Europe Network has their offices all around the world, not only in Europe, and of course in the region. And I contacted colleagues from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they also helped in recruiting the designers from Bosnia and Herzegovina. All other fashion designers, mostly women, of course, because this is a female sector, were recruited by Help and Dress for Success, and they decided on creating. Actually, I like to call it a regional brand. So maybe Sandra would say more, and Masha, about that, if that was the initial idea. I don't think that it was the idea to create at the very beginning this regional brand, but they come up with this as a result of their joint effort, and a lot of enthusiasm were invested by many designers.
By many people, yes. Ms. Popovic, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are approaching, so we have to stick to the time. Can we just then take, as we are going to see a short video later on in the success stories, can we just take then on this initiative that was undertaken by a very group of entrepreneurial women as a model of how certain things can be done even in a restricted environment, even in a restricted conditions, as the pandemic imposed to the organization of this Torino Fashion Week show this year's. Is there any other sort of a support? What kind of support? Women to women, women to men? Should we speak at all about differences between men and women at work? We all possess the skills. Either you know how to do it or not. So when it comes to the business, how can we reconcile these differences that are still influencing and causing to have only 30% of women entrepreneurs in business, entrepreneurs in Serbia in general, and I believe that there is only 30 women in leadership positions in Serbia as well.
Well, if anything was good out of this pandemic period is that process of the digitalization has been faster, and this is a big opportunity because the digitalization is considered as a big equalizer in gender gap. So this is something that we should use even more for the benefit of especially marginalized women's groups, owners of the micro companies, in textile and fashion. They are small designers, but very creative with the lack of the resources. So what we could bring in is enabling them the digital platforms for networking, for learning, and for sharing the experience. And I think that the next, that is the way we should go as supporters, because we all are kind of intermediaries, and we should really try to enable them to the best from this, let's say, digital mode of work.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Popovic. Yes, digitalization is for all, and that is part of our present and of our future, obviously. I would like to introduce you to the next panelist, to the next lady speaker, who is also a businesswoman, who have come a long way and who have experienced, she experienced both worlds, East and West. And she is, I believe, she has traveled a lot, and she is a mother, a spouse, a businesswoman, Miss Jelena Bendrain. Miss, hello, good afternoon. So great we can hear each other. Thank you so very much.
Arab Emirates.
Greetings from Serbia. Thank you for joining us. Ms. Jelena, as a businesswoman, you have heard what previous panelists said so far. What is your experience of being a woman in business?
I would like to say that I never experienced any discrimination being a woman, but in business, I experienced gender, my age. My age was the problem usually. When I started my businesses, I was in my early 20s. And if I didn't have my husband as a support, I don't think how long it will take for me to prove that like somebody who was in modeling world for years, because I don't know if other panelists know, but my background, my education is in economics and in diplomacy. And that was not important at all because I was doing modeling and I was discriminated because
nobody asked.
Sorry?
Nobody asked you, actually. They wanted to know.
My education. Exactly. Nobody wanted to listen about my desire to work and did. And nobody really cared that I'm coming from Serbia, from ex-Yugoslavia, where all of us, all women, are...
No, sorry, just, okay. Just,
there was a... Yeah, I will just put... because...
It's okay. We can. I think we can hear you now. It's just to turn it off and then turn it on again. To reset it as. Can you? Are you there? I don't. We don't see you at the moment. In a video.
Can you hear me?
But we can hear you. And yeah, you're back. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. So nobody was really interested, and nobody wanted to. Because nobody also knew that we are bringing from our home that kind of education, and that we are brought up in the way in communistic system that women have to have it all, that we are able to work, that we are able to be mothers, sisters, wives, friends.
All in one.
Exactly.
All in one.
All in one. And when I went abroad, I just wanted that chance to work. So the biggest problem was my age, because I was in my 20s and I was cute girl, pretty face, and nobody really cared that, you know, like there is something behind that. They're just scared, you know, like that I'm in my 20s, that I'm doing modeling to support my family. And in the same time, nobody really was interested to hear that I'm working, that I'm finishing my university, that I'm doing my master's in the same time. So this was the problem for me. But I was lucky that I met an Arabic guy.
Your skills and without your personality as you are, Miss Yasmina Azhari mentioned that very clearly. People in general should stop making assumptions. So when you take all that in question with your personality and skills and knowledge, it's not been just gifted to you. You worked very hard on that. So when we talk about models, what do you think? What are the differences between Serbia? Just would like to stick to the time. What are the differences between the Serbia and United Arab Emirates? What models could be actually replicated here and there?
There is a difference between United Arab Emirates, between Dubai, let's say, where I'm working now, where I'm in charge of 6 businesses under Bindrai Capital Group of businesses. And Serbia, I don't have experience in business in Serbia. I never even worked like as a model in Serbia. My experience is regarding to modeling is international. I had international career. My base was in Milan. But what I know from some of my business partners and from people that I'm collaborating with, that in Dubai, digitalization is
key.
It's amazing what we have as based on the digitalization. And in Serbia, Serbia already improved a lot. It's still far from UAE. And I think that administration-wise and bureaucracy-wise, have
red tape.
Learn from UAE. In UAE, in Dubai, our life is much easier. And also, I think that what we are, and the way that we are doing businesses here, everything is very transparent. All policies, rules, and procedures are very simple to be followed. So I think that this is something what Serbia can apply. I think it's already started happening there, but UAE is much better in that, and I think that this is something that we can help businesses in Serbia to implement.
Thank you so very much for this insight. As Hind mentioned it just a moment ago, that partnership between business and government could actually help in this part, reduction of the red tape in Serbia. And I'm sure...
I'm not sure, do we have still time?
Just a brief moment of time, because we have one more person in this panel to finish until 10:30, so we should be in time.
I just wanted to add something regarding this pandemics when they're started. This is between UAE and between Serbia. I'm working with 70 women and 8 men. I guess this is also kind of discrimination.
Yes, it is.
I'm working with the 70 women through 6 companies that I'm in charge in Bindrai capital. So during this pandemics, I realized that our model, which we implemented 10 years ago, where we don't have a strict working time, is really helpful. And this is something that in Serbia is almost not possible. I don't believe in working time from 9 to 5. For all our employees, knowing from a woman's side that all of us need to juggle between, as I said, being mother and sister and daughter, I'm giving flexible timing to my employees. Literally, only 4 things need to be respected, and that is budget. That is have to be covered. Also, team building meetings have to be attended, and also staff meetings. We are working around flexible timings, and I think that this is what helped us glide through this pandemics very, very easy, and this is what made us different than our competitors. So I think this is also something that maybe can help women rise and give their full potentials at work.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Yes, many of us would agree with you, and the flexible work hours, as long as we stay within the budget, given and available budgets, and of course with the results distributed and delivered, it's okay. Ms. Jelena, thank you so very much for being with us. Stay, maybe we can talk later on with the discussion, because I already see some questions are coming in the chat line. So please welcome our next lady panelist, that is Ms. Svetlana Đokić, Serbia. She is a program national coordinator within the program migration of the German Development Cooperation, GIZ. I wanted to say it now in the German, but Miss Svetlana she is an expert in international multi-donor programs and operations. She has an economic background and vast experience in running international projects related to migrations, economic development, and energy efficiency know-how. I hope you have managed to hear me, because for a moment I was notified that my internet connection was not very stable. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ms. Svetlana Đokić from GIZ. Svetlana, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. First of all, ladies and gentlemen and dear colleagues, thank you very much for invitation and for opportunity to participate in this conference focused on a very important topic, empowerment of women. I will speak about this topic from some specific angle, from the angle of the Global Program Migration for Development, PME, which is a part of the wider initiative of the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, named Returning to New Opportunities. Basically, this program has been implemented by GIZ in 13 different countries worldwide, where Serbia is one of them. Having in mind the strong interconnection and the principle no one leave behind, the program targets both returnees and a local population and provide direct support to socioeconomic reintegration through the German Information Center on Migration Training and Employment called DIMAC. DIMAC target group in Serbia are one of the most vulnerable groups on the labor market, facing multiple disadvantages. Having in mind some internal analysis, I can say that 70% of the total number of our beneficiaries are women, members of Roma community, and we are talking about ladies aged between 31 and 40 years. Meaning that they are really in a full working capacity. Those category are featured by completed primary education, dominantly married with 3 children, returnee from Germany, and primarily interested in qualifications, development, and employment support. In majority of cases, women are the ones who take care about their families, being engaged through the different employment modalities, either formal or non-formal working modalities, and they often the ones who make any income for the family and they sustain their families. This is especially important today during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, since the pandemic has influenced increasing discrepancies in the economic situation of different categories of population in Serbia. Pandemic consequences hit the most vulnerable groups, women, youth, and informally employed people. In majority of cases, women, especially our target group, are non-formally employed or working in service sector, so meaning that they either lost their jobs and opportunity to generate any income. But looking at the women who are returnees from Germany or any other EU country, they are especially more vulnerable because in terms of access to the labor market or opportunities to make any income. PIMI program has recognized women as very often the pillars of their families, and especially related to their kids, elderly, or maybe ill family members. So in that view, we fully designed reintegration programs and measures to help this category of people. I will just name one, which is really very nice example. It's about the training program in elderly care sector, which aimed to train 100 beneficiaries. And the goal was to have 50 of them employed after the completed training. The program started in February, just before Corona, and it was really hardly affected by the pandemic. But somehow, thanks to the excellent collaboration with the partners involved in this process, primarily civil society organizations and the private sector companies, meaning elderly care homes, we managed to finalize this project. And at the end, I can say that 100 persons, dominantly women, are trained and 95 employed. So in this category, we are talking about females with more than 2 disadvantages and persons who were long-term unemployed. It's mainly Roma women, mainly single parents from rural areas, working in informal sector and making their labor market integration particularly challenging. Apart from this, we also tailor-made the different other supporting measures, especially tailored to the women. Again, I would say that the key factor of success is really very tight and close collaboration between all relevant stakeholders. At one point, it's government institutions, either at the national or local level, then civil society organizations who can really do a lot. And here we have excellent collaboration, not only with you guys from Help, but also Liga Roma, Dress for Success, Association of Business Women. So it's a very nice network of different organizations where we try to complement the measures and make the life of beneficiaries, primarily women, much more easier. In this context, it's also important to mention that the private sector is very important. First, we all have to work on awareness raising about giving them a chance to learn more about the women capacities, about potentials. So yeah, I would really conclude here. We all have to work closely. We all have to design measures that are complementary to each other, and that's the key factor of success.
Thank you so very much. That was very nice story, and I enjoyed the fact that all 100 people who were participating actually benefited from it with your full support, and that's your completely right. We hope that this joint collaboration will give not only the women who are business women, but also to support other women to build their knowledge through this and other initiative that will come out of these joint activities. Svetlana, thank you so very much. We hope to discuss also a little bit at the part of the discussion. And let me now make a short break, we will not go offline. We will not stop our videos. We will enjoy for 3 minutes something that you have already heard here from the panelists. It's a digital edition of a Torino Fashion Week, but only part of this regional cooperation that was implemented by Help, Dress for Success, and Skrug Liga Roma. It is a short video. There is a lot more material. Those who were following Torino Fashion Week actually enjoyed in a much longer version of the material. You can always find it on the social networks, on the profiles of Help, of Dress for Success, and Skrug Liga Roma, and of course on the profile of the Torino Fashion Week. So I would like to ask our host, our media center, who are great support guys. Thank you so very much for bearing with us today and handling all this technique. And there are also men and women who work both, and I think that the ratio is equal. So I would like to ask them to turn that video on so we can see how that digital edition of the Torino Fashion Week and our participation looked like during in the middle of the crisis. Thank you so very much. I hope you enjoyed the video that was created, and that was actually our a little pause and our introduction to the success stories, because the next two ladies that are going to speak and that are going to present their successes, their experiences, how it looked like. They're coming, one from Switzerland. She will be talking with us from Switzerland. She actually left Serbia in pursuit of a better, in pursuit of her passion, let's say it that way. And the second one is a businesswoman in Serbia. So let's please, in the beginning, welcome Miss Tatjana Somborski, who is talking with us from Switzerland. And Miss Tatjana, can you hear us?
Yes, and do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you so very much. What I was impressed with, I have to say is that okay that I share that information, that you actually had the patient this morning and you ran a little bit to your office, and then you came back here, and then in the meantime, God knows what else you had to do.
It's okay, I should organize myself better. So
yeah,
thank you very much.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Please share with us your experience.
Yes, I'm very happy to be with you today, hear your interesting stories and share with you my experience in the business sector. I'm a medical doctor based in Zurich. I'm leading 2 medical practices. One of them is next to the airport of Zurich for our international patients. My professional part was interesting in a way that I started in Serbia and specialized myself in France, and finally landed in Switzerland, where I grounded my family and became a mother. So I faced 3 different countries, 3 different cultures, 3 different medical systems, and completely different approaches to a health, lifestyle, and especially a woman who is active, starts her own business, and is also a mother. I have to say that I have faced a lot of challenges which have led to my position today. Medicine is an extraordinary area. Science-based innovations and monitoring of trends and the latest development in the medicine that is advancing so fast with developments of technology are very needed. My goal is already to show how it is possible through theory and praxis that is based on real evidence to initiate and achieve results in the field in which I work to improve especially people's lives and health. And not only that, it is important to identify needs and create a response based on the needs. Innovations are always very welcomed and do inspire me a lot. The area of nutrition was particularly interesting to me, so I'm the founder of Chrono Nutrition Switzerland. This is a scientific nutritional program to achieve an ideal weight and to permanently correct metabolic disorders such as high blood pressure or bad blood sugar, lipid levels, obesity, food intolerance. So in the last couple of years, this program evolved further in healthy aging programs from simply too high demand. The healthy aging program is suitable for patients who are already ill with cardiovascular diseases, obesity, diabetes, and want to improve their health in a natural way. And on the other hand, healthy adults also benefit from this program by learning from their medical examinations and not-to-pass genetic testing what their potential health vulnerabilities are and how they can proactively tackle them to prevent diseases and slow down their aging process in preventive manner. And I would like to point out an important issue in business success, not only for a woman, but also for a man. It is about health. So these days, good education, professional skills are often no longer enough to be in demand professionally. Vitality, good health, and charisma are also in demand. So this is leading us back to the conference topics: women's empowerment, being significant for the businesswoman, the confidence and motivation to continue further. I find this conference initiative very interesting as it promotes the success examples and, personally for me, an opportunity to get more information and share experience. As I have presented, amongst other important issues, innovations have led me to where I am at the moment, and I do not plan to stop here. I'm still motivated to expand my business further. Sharing knowledge and experience is a key to the improvement in each business. So my message for a woman leader of tomorrow and successful woman is to be, I would advise to follow your dream and instinct. Don't hesitate to explore and start from the beginning, as I did, if you believe in above mentioned. Interconnecting is of utmost importance, and be innovative and also open to learn always. Thank you very much. And
Thank you very much, nor should you ever stop. That is very, very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing all your experience and knowledge with us. And I will go now, again, switch to Serbian, because I would like to introduce our next panelist, our next successful story. For all of those of you who are following, you can notice that there is translation on YouTube, on Facebook, depending on what kind of translation you need. So try to switch between those two channels to follow the conference in the language of your preference, as well as to use the link for the Zoom conference, so you can choose the channel. Naš sljedeći sagovornik, odnosno sagovornica je dr. Aleksandra Jovanović, koja živi i radi u Srbiji, poslovna žena punih 18 godina. Ukoliko sam ja dobro razumela, molim vas, Aleksandra, da me slobodno ispravite. Vi radite neke vrlo interesantne stvari u svom privatnom biznisu, pa bih vas ja zamolila da vrlo kratko nam kažete par stvari o tom svom biznisu, da ne bih ja, pošto zaista nisam stručna u tom polju, ali bih volela nešto od onoga što vi radite da mogu da koristim. Kako uspevate da budete uspešni u svemu tome? Srbija, često možete da čujete ljude kako kažu da nije lako biti uspešan u Srbiji i održati biznis. Vi ste uspeli, eto, punih 18 godina, možda i više. Kako izgleda vaš biznis? Kako uspevate da budete uspešni u njemu? Šta je ono na što ste naročito ponosni i koji su to izazovi u poslovnom okruženju sa kojima se suočavate? Aleksandra?
Da li me čujete?
Savršeno, čujemo vas. Da li ste vi mene sve čuli ili sve ok?
Jesam. A prvo da se zahvalim na prilici da budem danas na konferenciji sa vama kao panelist i da kažem moje iskustvo. Ja sam nakon 7 godina rada u državnom zdravstvu kao lekar specijalista fizijatar poželjela da taj posao radim na neki drugi način i već evo punih 18 godina sam preduzetnik, tako što sam otvorila prvu ordinaciju za estetsku medicinu u Nišu, u ovom regionu stvarno prvu ordinaciju te vrste. I dalje smo lider u regionu, koji sada postaje bogatiji ustanovama, jer je ova grana medicine i uopšte grana kao privredna u velikom usponu. Na samom početku moja ideja je bila da pružim ovde takve usluge koje su već dugo vremena brzo rastuće i veoma postoji velika motivisanost za rad i za primjenu novih tehnologija, kao što to koriste svi stanovnici većih gradova u Evropi i u razvijenom svetu. Niš je u to vreme, početkom 2000-ih, bio potpuno van tih tokova. Znači, stvarno nije postojala ni jedna privatna ordinacija, a kamoli privatna ordinacija koja se bavila ovom delatnošću. Tako da od početka je osnovna delatnost rad najsavremenijom medicinskom tehnologijom, ali u oblasti estetske medicine, i to su pre svega bili laseri i ostali neki uređaji koji su u cilju otklanjanja različitih estetskih i zdravstvenih problema. Od lečenja akni, uklanjanja kapilara, hiperpigmentacija, ali i protokola usporavanja i starenja i podmlađivanja, znači sve ono što žene svih uzrasnih doba čini zadovoljnijim i punim samopouzdanja, jednom rečju osnažuje. Od početka mi stvaramo i tim žena koji radi, ali stvaramo i tim obučenih novih, uglavnom žena, za upotrebu ovih tehnologija u drugim ustanovama, uglavnom u našoj zemlji. Poslednjih godina posao dobija karakter porodičnog, jer su u posao uključila i starija ćerka, koja je takođe lekar, koja specijalizira plastičnu hirurgiju i već poslednje 2 godine uvodi nove usluge iz svoje oblasti. Uskoro očekujemo da se timu priključi i mlađa ćerka, takođe budući lekar u ovoj oblasti, tako da se tim stvarno širi. Sada nas ima 7 zapošljenih žena, ali upošljavamo i 2 muškarca koji su nam više kao tehnička podrška, ali opet neophodna, nisu direktni izvršioci posla. Sve ovo vreme bilo je jako teško investirati u novu opremu, koja, opet kažem, je u rangu najbolje opreme na svetu. Prvi problemi su bili uvoz te opreme, jer i to nije bilo moguće raditi posle one tranzicije. O bankarskim kreditima to da i ne pričamo. Međutim, posle od neke 2003. nadalje, kada su se bankarski krediti pojavili, bez ikakve neke mogućnosti pomoći privrede i svega ostalog, znači prosto na ličnu inicijativu, na davanje hipoteka na kuću u kojoj živim sa svoje 3 dece, sam uspevala da stvorim finansijske uslove, da 1 po 1 aparat obezbedim, ali su nam to bili osnovi uslovi rada. Konstantno smo investirali u opremu svih ovih godina i bez nekih poreskih olakšica, znate da to kod nas ni dalje ne postoji, bez obzira što je nova tehnologija u pitanju, bez obzira što se konstantno uvećavao broj upošljenih, prosto poreske olakšice nismo imali. Mislim da smo uspešna ordinacija, a moje mišljenje je da je uspeh i to dobro poslovanje, stalno uvećavanje broja klijenata i to što smo mi posvećeni pre svega rezultatima. Težnja ka boljim rezultatima nas tera u nove investicije i stalno nove proizvode i tehnologiju, a to je i jako interesantno u ovom poslu. A mislim da ključ leži i u tom neprekidnom sticanju novih znanja i u stalnom usavršavanju celog tima. I sada nas ima, svake godine smo na svim konferencijama, ove godine online, ali edukacije su osnova našeg posla. Ono što je interesantno u našem poslu je oblast kojom se bavimo jedna stvarno od najbrže rastućih grana. Ima mnogo i korisnika, sve više ima korisnika, naročito posle ove COVID situacije i lockdowna mi smo imali enorman broj upita, jer su ljudi bili kući, pratili uglavnom društvene mreže, čitali. Mislim da je uticaj toga što se stalno gledamo u mobilnim telefonima, stalno znamo kako gledamo. Znači, težnja ka tom nekom boljem izgledu je prisutna sada ne samo kod žene i kod muškaraca, ali je isto tako biraju, znaju da pametno biraju gde smeju da ode, u kome smeju da posvete svoje lice, svoje telo. I tako da ja mislim da prostor u stvari je veliki za investicije, bez obzira da li se radi o stvaranju novih centara u regionu, većih, savremenijih, tehnologija ima i dalje jako mnogo, koja je prosto, problem su sredstva da se ta tehnologija kupi. Ali jedna osnova zdravstvenog turizma za ovaj region, gde imamo prilike da, mislim, imamo aerodrom, može da se obiđe puno dobrih lokacija u našem regionu, bi stvarno je nešto što ja vidim kao budućnost regiona, a time i upošljavanje velikog broja, pre svega žena, jer prosto je delatnost takva da je potrebno da pretežno izvršioci budu žene. I tako da mislim da je stvarno neki onako inovativan, poželjan, a jako perspektivan posao.
Ali u svakom slučaju poverenje i stručnost su zapravo ono što dovodi klijente do vas. I Aleksandra, recite nam još samo, imate li neku poruku možda, neku posebnu poruku za žene? Šta biste im rekle? Evo, Tatjana je rekla da prate svoju strast, da istraže sve svoje mogućnosti i da budu uporne. Šta biste im vi rekli nekoj sada mladoj ženi? Šta kažete svojim ćerkama?
Obzirom da smo Tanja i ja koleginice sa godine čak iz iste grupe na studijama medicine, ja delim Tanjino mišljenje. Znači, vera u sebe, mora da se ima svoj cilj. Ja svojoj deci stalno pričam, zamislite život da radite posao koji volite na način koji volite. Ceo put do tog cilja vam je život. Znači, svaki korak koji trebate da preduzmete, da vas dovede do tog cilja, mislim da ne treba da bude neki mukotrpan ili ne znam šta. Mislim, mora da se uživa u svemu, ali cilj uvek može da bude dostižan. Način je samo pitanje kakav, ali cilj je taj. I samo hrabro.
Dobro, ciljevi se menjaju i prilagođavaju. Evo vidite, u toku pandemije mnogi smo morali, ili makar nismo morali da promenimo cilj, ali smo morali da promenimo put do toga cilja. Aleksandra, hvala.
Način se menja, ali uvek se nađe do cilja.
Tako je. Hvala vam puno, ostanite sa nama. Evo, boga mi, the clock is ticking, što bi se rekla, evo sad ću I'm switching back to the English language. The clock is ticking. We are approaching, but it is okay. We have the time because the last is not the least. We have a couple of very, very important speakers that I'm especially eager to talk to, because our next subject and panel is leadership, advocacy, and building people with international knowledge in business relations, in communications, in marketing, in international affairs and policies. So please let me welcome Mr. Ibrahim Hayat, who is CEO of International Center for Strategic Analysis, ICSANA. Mr. Hayat, can you hear me? Are you with us?
Yes, I'm
Thank you. May I switch? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your surname properly. So may I use your name, or please tell me what?
How to talk to each other, so this is fine.
Okay, thank you so very much for taking the time talking to us. You have vast, I was impressed reading, you have vast international experience in media, communications, program management, project management, policies. Your centers have done numerous analysis and research studies. When we speak about building leadership of women of tomorrow, how can we inspire and empower women leaders of tomorrow? What is your experience in all these, given all the experience, professional experience that you have? Please share with us.
If I may say, so first, thank you for having me with you today. It's very interesting to talk and to listen first to the people of have experience in the field. If you have noticed, most of the presentations are about micro level, community level, sectorial. Mm-hmm. So what we are talking about is people who are trying to make a difference, to make a change. Here, what we're talking, when we say empowerment, women empowerment, is parity, women versus men. There is a historical background, and this is what I want to talk about, because there were 2, 3, 4 comments that were very interesting, like the lady from Sharjah talking about going to Italy, going to Bangkok, trying to expand the experiences on a comparative knowledge. And the best knowledge we have in the world is the comparative one. And also when the lady for migration talking about the digitalization is an equalizer and is also pushing the boundaries. So what we are seeing here is empowerment is affected by the changing realities. When we start talking about empowerment is what? Is because there are pre-established rules. We have a reality, socio-economic reality, and then we're trying to change it. When we have a law, the law will be a settlement agreement made to make conflictual parties agree. So always the law, it is the reflection of the past. When we try to change within the law, we are always reflecting the past. So anything we are doing on a macro level, we are also have to take into consideration that there is always a suprastructure. There is a macroeconomic reality, macro socio-economic reality. So the world, how is it changing nowadays? I want to link this to the fact that we have the pandemic coronavirus. This is going to affect in a way the way we look at reality, socio-economic realities. I just go back to 100 years ago when we had, for example, the Spanish flu pandemic. 60 million people died. We saw some pictures about people who used to put some masks, etc. Can we establish a comparison? Not necessarily. 100 years ago, 90% of the population of the world was a rural population. Nowadays, we are at maybe 70 to 75% of urbanization. Most of the economies, when we talk development and creating better chances, well-being, we're talking about services. Like a country which, like Japan, saying it's more developed because it has 80% of its economy dependent on services. One of the panelists has rightly mentioned that because in the services, the most people who are affected, people working in the services because of the pandemic now. So our world is changing. 100 years ago, there is a new concept when people have been migrating from the extended family to come to the city, to live in the city. We went from extended family to nucleus one. There was a higher level of statehood. The state is taking care of the individual when we talk development, especially coming from the West, who was leading in developmentist economy, especially after the 50s. So the state will be taking care of the individual from cradle to grave. And basically, the statehood, everything we have been building, it was based on liberal economy or liberal concepts, opening the market forces, etc., affecting the labor workplace. And so now what happened in the pandemic, everything we have been proclaiming or calling for the last 70 years since the Second World War, and the West has taken over with liberal economies, opening other markets, controlling them, is there is the state taking control, and also we have been opening the markets, traveling, going everywhere. Now what's happened with the pandemic, first of all, after the 2008 crisis, we saw that the statehood has been affected deeply. This is going to affect on macroeconomic level and also the values that we'll be protecting and when talking about empowerment. The second thing is the state, especially in Europe, for example, Western Europe, they did not spend, except for Germany, on social well-being programs. They all took the money. They were lazy politicians all over. And now what we have seen, all the states suddenly collapsed. All the governments collapsed. And we have been dismantling what has been built for 70 years. This is going to last? Maybe not. But this will leave a lot of problems over in the future. For example, in 2008, the air transport industry has been affected deeply. Because usually people travel, the premium travelers, business and the first class, will always represent 30% of the budget of the aircraft when transporting, and will be financing the rest of the whole passengers going in the economy class. A lot of companies stopped doing this, and probably doing like now we are doing with Zoom and other ones, conference calls, video conferencing. So after that, the situation resumed a little bit, but the impact over 10 years affected the whole air transport industry. All the companies started collapsing. They needed money, fighting with the government to give them aid or not. Now, with the crisis, maybe it will stop a little bit all the anti-liberal measures that we are taking. Now people have to be confined. We cannot travel. There is control. We don't want other people coming to our country. We don't want to go to other. So everything, the economy stopped doing activities, everything that has been proclaimed for over 70 years, 80 years, now it is gone. Is it temporary? Yes, it will be partially. But now what we are learning is that the fact that we have, the technology is changing our world. The way the workplace where we are looking for parity, gender parity, is going to change. People don't have to travel much because they can do it from home. People don't have to work probably from like before. The nuclear family maybe is under pressure now. Maybe we go back to the extended family. So there are a lot of trends that are happening now. We will slowly create new phenomena, especially with the technology, and then the empowerment, what we are talking about. Like now, for example, we mentioned before that I think the lady from Sharjah was saying that through communication, we can do a lot of, we can communicate, we can exchange, we can have more friends coming. So our world, the world where it is that we have pre-established values. I said in the beginning, the law is something reflecting the past. Everything we want to change is about the law. The institutions are laws. So what we are trying to change, the same thing is already changing. So the pandemic is accelerating. I'm not saying it's changing radically our world. It's accelerating the convergence of different elements, including technology, digitalization, looking for other solutions, changing the landscape, the way people live. People live based on norms. The work office, the workplace is no more going to be the same in the coming few years. Because of the technology, the pandemic made it a bigger reality. So the empowerment here is going to be a different thing. Even the funding. Now, yesterday, China published that the digital economy is now worth $5 trillion. This is huge. And then imagine that the digital economy will grow. Women empowerment in the digital world is not as in the real world as it has been for 100 years with the urbanization, with the services culture, with so many other things. So the landscape is changing. There are new realities that will be emerging. I think this is what I wanted to talk about today mainly, is there are new big realities that will come and that will affect the way we engage in empowerment, women empowerment, and gender.
Are we ready? Are we ready for that change?
It is beyond control now because the statehood that has been taking care of the individual, talking women as individual versus men, the state is collapsing. A lot of governments now in Europe, they discovered they need to create a health crisis institutions to manage this. They didn't have this. They are short-sighted. These people did not anticipate that the statehood is not the end of ruling the socio-economic reality. Now they are looking for other solutions. And the statehood is going to change, not as it used to be before. It's a new reality unfolding. The pandemic pushed us to the limit of reviewing our own business model for development since the Second World War. And the impact is huge.
So we have to actually start from within ourselves because the state is made of people. Without the people, there is no state, isn't it?
They have a limitation in what they can say, whether in actual reality or previous reality or the new one. But what one can say is if we want to talk empowerment, I think we should focus more on linking empowerment to technology and digitalization. How this will affect the workplace, the family life, even transportation. You know, you have companies that are the transport, public transport. It's part of a culture where people have to go from one place to another to work. Now, maybe in the future, we don't have to do this one. Even delivery will be done by drones. So many things. And then our world is changing.
So we have to be open and be ready and learn new skills and take the learning process.
I would say we have to include in any empowerment project in the future how we can shift it to the digital world or have it and do it through the digital world, because now all the power in the real world is shifting now. The money, $5 trillion, $5,000 billion in China alone. This is digital. So how women can benefit from this new reality? This is going to happen through. So We don't have to shift directly because not all people they have an acumen in IT or other stuff, but we have to include that there is a new reality and we can adjust. We have always to take it into consideration. Empowerment, because now the technology, the changes happening are changing the rules, the way gender parity could be conceived. So even the fight that used to happen before is no more the same. Which means I was saying, we have the law, which is the reflection of the past. We don't want to build the future while working with the tools of the past, or how we say, suitable for the past.
They are not applicable. They are not applicable in the future. We have to build new tools to have a better future. Mr. Hayat, thank you so very much. Let that make the message for the ladies, as we are now breaking the time, but we have two more speakers that it's okay, each will have quite enough time. Mr. Hayat, thank you very much for joining us today. It was very insightful and I enjoyed every word of your speech. Now, let me go back to Mr. Omar Al-Busaidi, who is a United Arab Emirates author and entrepreneur, who is also MA candidate, International Affairs Intelligence in Florida State University. Mr. Omar, can you hear me? Are you there with us? And yes, where on earth are you?
I'm honestly, guys,
in which continent?
I don't know if you know, I'm actually in Miami. And it's like 5 o'clock in the morning now. So I was here since 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, sorry. I was right saying good evening to some of you, I assume. Thank you so very much for bearing with us. And I hope you are still, we are still okay with you being here, and you have actually first-hand experience in both worlds, Middle East, a pure West, United States. So what can you tell us about the differences? Are there any at this point and at this moment, and how can we help with women and men to be partners in building tomorrow, and how to actually reveal all the potential that women have or may be hiding at the moment for God knows which reasons. So what is your experience and what can you share with us about the women empowerment?
First of all, thank you for having me at this session. And I want to say hello to all my colleagues and the panelists and the attendees. Just to give you a point, Stanislava, when I was back in the UAE, I was actually involved in a lot of different seminars, in conferences, universities, and speaking particularly to young women on entrepreneurship in particular. And that's why I actually ended up publishing my book, Just Read It, because there's a university in the UAE called Zayed University. I used to go there all the time. And at Zayed University, in fact, the women, the female campus are doing way better than the boys. Like I think at my time, there was 4,000 female students and there was 800 male students. The 4,000 of the female students, there was like a 85 to 90% like success in their academic progress. Whereas in the male students, from the 800 of them, about 70% of them were actually doing and performing very bad. So only the 30% were actually performing good. So you can already see that there was a big paradigm shift. And I love that we had Ibrahim Hayat, who just spoke before me, who talked about how things are changing right now. And,
yes.
And women are really like taking, so for me, I believe that if you talk about East and West, etc., in the East, it's always been present. I think what the problem was all this time, I think that we didn't have probably the right or fair PR and media, because in the UAE or in the East, which is the only experience I can share with you, because that's the only country I lived in, between the UAE and the US, these are the two countries. In the UAE, women, they play a very big leadership role. but behind the scenes, way more than in the front. You know, although, and I think also in the West, it's kind of the same thing, you know, like, you know, men maybe show that they're like in charge, but really the women are in charge, you know, like, so this is just to call out the elephant in the room. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but in the Middle East, in the UAE, it's been a big deal. So let me give you an example in the UAE. In the UAE, one of the biggest advocates for women empowerment is Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak. She is known as the mother of the nation. If you only go on the internet and just look at the number of accolades and projects and initiatives that she has done to support women, whether it was in business, it was in sports, it was in academia, you name it, almost every single sector, she had played a very strong role to support her late husband, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Hayyan, who was the founder of the UAE. And both of them worked tirelessly to support the progress of men and the progress of women equally. And this is the reason why today, when you look at the UAE workforce, in fact, women make a majority of the public sector workforce as opposed to men. And they're doing very well. And the other way that I think the support between East and West on how the government support women in the workplace and in entrepreneurship is coming up with policies that particularly support women when it comes to like maternity leaves and also trying to address the issue of equal pay, etc. And we've already seen a lot of these rules instituted in law in the UAE as well. So I think one of the things for sure, it's definitely it's clear that the UAE has learned a lot from Western countries and being part of multilateral institutions like United Nations Women, etc., and all these different organizations. But at the same time, when a lot of the times these organizations come to the UAE, when they see the role that women play, they're like really surprised to see how many of them are standing in leadership. Anyways, that was the first part of the question. I saw that the other part of the question as well is, how can they achieve their full potential and thrive together with men? The one thing that I used to give advice, Stanislava, in the UAE to a lot of the girls, I think there's a cultural element you have to understand. Back in the UAE, people, we have a different way of how we address things. We're a little bit maybe more reserved. We are outspoken, but we're outspoken in a different way, whether it is men or women. So even if I want to say something to somebody in a polite way, I say it in a certain way. And women as well, they have a way to speak there. It's not this, they don't really speak the same way as maybe women in the West. I think in the East and the West, it's different. There's cultural history. So it may seem sometimes that they are shy or reserved, that they don't want to speak when they're on the table, especially when you're in the meeting. So, but what I would try to do when I used to go and give these speeches and lectures in schools and universities, I used to try to tell the female students to be more comfortable to speak up and give their opinion and their suggestions on the table, even when men are there, and even if they're local men, because a lot of the times when they are foreign men, they are more comfortable. But when it is myself, like even as an Emirati, a lot of the times they wouldn't put their hands up. So these are some of the things that I kind of like learned from being in both worlds, and I used to try to address it. And by the way, I still do it till today. I'm still on webinars in the UAE, like constantly. They still contact me while I'm here in Miami trying to study, but like I still get all these calls back home, which I really enjoy at the end. And that's why I said when I published my book, Stanislava, it was literally because a student at Zayed University who sits on the front row all the time, she said to me, you need to publish a book for all the advice that you gave us. And the name of the book as well was inspired by another student, because I didn't know what to call it. I finished writing the book and she was like, I told her, I just want people to just read it. She's like, call it that. I said, what? She said, just read it. So that's why I called the book, Just Read It. And that's what happened.
That's great. So I have the next title for the title for your next book, Just Speak Up, as you just said, as an advice to the women. So
there you go.
Please.
Yeah, this is what happens. See, we just collaborated and you just gave me an idea. I could probably just write that.
So let's make it a trilogy, or even, continue more, just read it. So the next one, Just Speak Up. That's very important. Omar, thank you very much. Thank you a lot for having us at this hour in Miami. Enjoy your time. I hope we will, all the participants will be able to keep in touch, in contact, and maybe to create some new activities with your help and assistance. And ladies and gentlemen, last but not the least, the connection, the very bridge between East and West, Miss Sanja Radlovački. Sanja. Hello, Sanja Radlovački. Can we hear each other? Is she unmuted? Media Center, molim vas.
Yes, hello.
Sanja, dobar dan. Hoćemo na srpskom ili na engleskom?
Greetings from Serbia. Well, maybe it's better on English. Well,
okay. Thank you very much, Sanja. I was wondering, after all these introductions, how to introduce Executive Director of UAE and Serbia Business Club. When you say a business club, just a couple of decades ago, maybe it was reserved especially and only for men. How do you feel in such a powerful position now?
First of all, good morning and good afternoon. Thank you for this invite. I'm really privileged to be here today, and for me personally to have a chance to speak about very important topic about leadership, female leadership and female empowerment. United Arab Emirates and Serbia Business Club is a non-governmental and non-profit association founded to achieve the goals of promoting economic and other forms of cooperation, such as culture, education, charity. UN Serbia Business Club was established by Embassy of United Arab Emirates and our founding members, the most reputable companies from UAE and Serbia, such as Masdar, Mubadala, Al Dahra, Yas Holding, Eagle Hills, Energo Project, Entel. DP World, our chairman is coming from Mirabank, Nikola Mihailovic. He is the CEO of Mirabank and our chairman. We are here to create a high-profile business community and to give exclusive and unique experience to all members of our business club. Mm-hmm. And you ask how it's to be a executive director of leader of a business club and living between UAE and Serbia. It's a big privilege. It's a big privilege for a lady. It's a big privilege because most of the time when you say here, especially in our region, that you are a feminist, first thought is, oh my God, she probably hates men. No. I love them, and because of them, I'm sitting here. Because during my entire life and my entire career, in last 15, 16 years, I tried to be surrounded with the most successful leaders, men leaders, because I'm 100% sure that a real man leader is ready to support female and to be a mentor from the beginning, to be a partner in a business at the end, to be a shareholder, and to help her to survive in this world, actually. What's the good thing about organization, and I'm the only lady at the moment in our organization, we don't complete, we we don't compete, we complete. We complete each other, and this is the best part of my job. This is the best part to be connected with the UAE, because we have a chance to learn a lot from United Arab Emirates, especially about the empowerment, about the leadership, how to negotiate, how to discuss, how to write, as Omar said. So we are really in a good position to get connected and to share the real value of our cooperation.
Building this, you said, to build high-profile business community. Building that high-profile community, will there be any place and space maybe for the corporate responsibility to support those less fortunate who cannot support themselves in that way, who do not maybe have the skills, the resources, the initial resources, as we see that the funding and the knowledge actually is the critical in establishing, in helping women to find their voice and speak up for themselves. So to actually help them teach them and assist them to become valuable members of the community, so that everybody have no burdens and actually only profit and benefit.
My personal opinion, my life philosophy generally is, I'm a big believer in women inspiration. I'm not a big believer in empowerment, because I really think that we are really powerful, but I think that we are not confident enough. So we need to be inspired, not empowered, because when you are inspired and when you're satisfied with yourself and confident, you will empower the community. So for ladies, it's much important to be inspired, and I think that we need to talk as much as we can, to share successful stories with each other, to support each other. First, we need to realize that this is not a competition.
Exactly.
We are here to complete each other. So when we complete each other, we have a better community. We empower community, and we can learn a lot about the meaning of empowering community from the UAE, actually. So most of the time, I think that we support ladies. We give some kind of financial support to them for their businesses. We recommend some kind of to learn some negotiation skills, or how to be successful in business, or how to write a business plan. And after a few months, or maybe 2-3 years, they failed. And I think that the most important is to find your own purpose, because life is not a road, life is a journey. So if you want to be successful in your business and in your life, it's like a business plan. Before the business plan, of course, you need to find your own purpose, to ask yourself simple questions. Who I am, what I want to be, where I want to go. And set your goals. You are on mission. You need to have your vision, like in business. So it's only up to you. Today, we are living in the era of digitalization and artificial intelligence. When I started my university, we were so scared about globalization. Oh my God, we are going to lose our identity. We were so scared. 20 years later, we are talking about the digitalization and artificial intelligence, but at the same time, like never before, we are living the era of self-confidence, self-growth, self-promotion, self-opportunities, self-respect at the same time. And like never before, you have a chance to learn and to educate yourself for free.
Yes.
When I was 16 years old, when I went to United States to finish my high school, I was around 22 and the youngest holder of master's degree in business relations and marketing. After that, I finished my MBA, and after that, I finished my postgraduate studies. So what I want to tell you, only educated people are free. So my message to the ladies is read the books, find 10 minutes, 15 minutes to listen to some kind of podcast. You have free YouTube videos. Just educate yourself more and be confident about self. Don't compete with other ladies. I never been judged from the lady who is higher educated than I am, or more prettier than I am, or successful than I am. Yes, really, I've been judged by ladies from the middle management or less, because it's all about purpose. It's all about journey. So when you're confident about your life journey, when you're confident where are you going, why are you doing this, you are not someone who is going to compete. You are someone who will complement, who will help to other ladies to survive and bring them to the top, to help you. Actually.
To support each other. So actually the message could be that the real power lies in the knowledge, and knowledge is something that we are gaining through the entire life. It's a long learning process. Ms. Radlovački, thank you so very much. I hope that...
And just one, sorry.
Yes.
Just one thing that I think it's really important for young female leaders. I think that we need to start from the beginning and from the youngest age, and to stop teach our daughters that they are princess, because they are not. This is a very important message, because you need to teach them that they can be whatever they want. She is not a princess, she is ambitious lady. Today, you don't have a time to be disappointed. You need to learn that it's okay to not be involved. It's okay to not be approved. It's okay to not be invited, but it's not okay, definitely, to be disappointed, because, as I said, we are living in an era of self-confidence and self-growth. Compete with yourself and complete the community by your own purpose and life philosophy.
Great. I couldn't agree more with you, and I like what I heard, as I hope the rest of the panelists, because that's the inner power is always the strongest power. Once we realize and discover the purpose, then it is much easier even to change the paths to reach the goal, and the goal is actually being on the path. Sanja, thank you so very much. It was a pleasure having you here. I have to ask the guests and participants, the audience, to be patient with us just a couple of more minutes, because Ms. Yasmina Azhari, she had the problems with the internet connection. She wasn't heard properly during her speech, so we would like to give her the floor again. So I would like to ask the media center to enable the Ms. Yasmina Azhari to speak, unmuting her microphone. and then we will make a short conclusion. Miss Azhari, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, excellent. Thank you so
I'm
very
very
much.
sorry. I had to run to the office to continue the interview. I'm very sorry. You know, I didn't say my mother is from Serbia, from Belgrade, and my father is from Syria. So I moved 9 years ago to Dubai. I established my company. I'm acting as a commercial broker in Dubai for the last 6 years now. So I had a trouble connection. I'm now visiting my father in Syria. I'm very sorry for that. But, you know, I did my homework and I wanted just to finish the 2 questions that you gave me. So maybe I can add something more to the very nice forum that we had.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the chance. So where do women thrive was your second question. So I want to say there is a very nice saying in Arabic which says, أينما زرعك الله أزهر, which means that wherever God plants you, bloom or flourish. So I believe in that. You know, I went to Dubai. Next time I will tell you my very nice story. And it's a very, very good example that we can stand up again after falling down and after leaving our countries and everything. So I believe that we can flourish in any place we go to. I believe that women can adopt a new situation much easier than men. Sorry, men. They are more flexible and are ready to learn quickly. Women used previously to enter only female domains. But now I think that we can tackle any male's field. So female domain, and there is no difference in achieving best for both genders. We can see now a big number of women in senior positions, which proves that we can thrive in any domain with no exceptions. How does a woman leader of tomorrow look like? Especially in Arab countries, great strides to empower women in the workplace have been taken. We are seeing an increase in women taking leadership roles across both private and public sectors. Tomorrow's female leaders will change the perceived conception about who can lead and what qualities are necessary to have in a leadership position. I'm sorry for people who are translating. Women in these types of roles break down barriers and show everyone what women can and should achieve. In GCC, I think that there is the highest rate of women graduated in the world. And we can see nowadays so many high-positioned ladies. We need to ensure that the structures is in place to support these women from entry level through to leadership. I always say, try and fail, but never fail to try. It's my continuous advice to females. Female leaders possess the same traits as their male counterparts, which is vision, empathy, passion, self-awareness, self-assurance, connections, resilience, passions, persistence, and commitment to their goals. That was all. Thank you so much for giving me the chance again. I was really proud to be with you, and I hope to meet all of you again, and I'll try to connect with everybody on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so very much. And we are all very proud and very honored that you had the time to set it with us and all of the other participants. So as we said, we, despite following the timeline, we broke the time. I would like to answer just a quick question that we had during our conference. So this women leadership is not about only supporting business women, as we said, and as it could be heard from many of our panelists, it's for all the women who need support. Women leadership is not about belittling others or hating anyone. It's about lifting, giving the helping hand and lifting up one who fell on the ground, helping him to stand on his feet. So we hope that from what we have heard, I can quickly summarize that we need funds, that we need more networking, that we need more connection, and that we need action on all of these. So be quick, connect, exchange emails, use these platforms, LinkedIn, social media networks. Let's, even if we have to do it virtually, as you said, shake a hand, women can, and Sanja also mentioned that women, whatever you need, Sanja Radlovački, sorry, because we had two Sanyas today with which is our pleasure. Really, it was really nice. They can learn whatever we need. We can learn it online. So if we can, with all this artificial intelligence, with all this digitalization, with all this technology that we have, why not to use it? And why not even through the internet, through the virtual meetings, help each other and connect and take action on being stronger and building sustainable world, because our planet needs our help. We are taking their resources and we should learn to behave, as also Mr. Kayat mentioned. And I hope that Omar will write his next book soon, Empowering Women and Men, of course, without any discrimination, and that it will be titled Just Speak Up. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I would just like to ask Mr. Darmaki from the UN Embassy in Belgrade if he has anything that he would like to add at the end to close today's conference, if he's still with us, because I can see only a couple of, yes, he is. Svetlana Osmane, thank you all so very much. It was great talk. So, Mr. Darmaki, would you like to close the conference?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to thank all the panelists for sharing their experience today and for having the time today to share their inputs about women empowerment. As I said, we are today having a change that adopts women. The United Arab Emirates, as the other panelists have mentioned, enabled women in so many other fields, as mentioned in my introductory statement. When it comes to workforce, as Mr. Omar and Sheikh Hind mentioned, women occupy 46% actually of leadership and supervisory positions in the United Arab Emirates. They do have so much more than what the people do have. And to conclude this meeting, I totally agree with most of the panelists. Women are empowered. Women are choosing who they want to be. I would like to thank everyone again for the time, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. We will send you the links for the materials, for the conclusions and others. Thank you for having us today. Have a good night. Have a good night, some of you, and some the rest of the day. Goodbye. Thank you for being with us.